Congratulations guys, our previous short scenarios played out perfectly. In the previous video we discussed many of them on Bitcoin and on altcoins. All of them marked their targets and some of them even overperformed. As you can see, Bitcoin marked precisely our previous cycle's all-time high, 2017 all-time high support here. And if we look at the daily time frame, this is our a strong intersection of supports here locally, of course. This 2017 all-time high and this trend line that I drew the moment we broke this strong resistance and became bullish in the midterm. And of course I knew I built these two lines and I was ready to wait for the price first marking and losing eventually this first trend line, and after we lose and close below this trend line, we are set to go to this one. And I mentioned that in the previous video and on my Twitter posts. But if you remember my previous video, I had a few scenarios for this to play out. First of them was I was expecting, when the price started to consolidate here, I was expecting us to kind of retest this resistance, maybe then dive under the Kijun as retest it as resistance and then fall to this trend line. Or maybe even if we would have some good bounce for the retest, we would even go as high as that and then get back to this line. But also, as the price was consolidating, I was holding under this local resistance and we started to descend with the candles here. And I told you there is a third scenario here. If we dive here and close under this Kijun, then probably we'll retest it and go lower. And we actually did. This scenario actually played out. And this is the secret of the market and trading and being successful on it. You play it level to level, where we secure support, resistance. You just need to know how the market structuring is working. And here we even dumped even faster than we expected, right precisely into this intersection. And I think locally it is our bottom. Maybe we will try to fool some late shorters. I don't know who that is, but probably there are some people and who will be caught here. Maybe we'll try to falsely break it and we'll recover here. But I think if we'll switch to the 4-hour time frame, we will see this more precisely here. Definitely we are retesting this, and I think we will start to recover because we have this inefficiency. All this inefficiency up to 21,500 is possible to recover in the coming week and days. Definitely today is Friday, and on Saturday all the markets will be closed, and definitely it depends how we are going to close today. And the same is going to be the scenario for opening on Monday. So basically, if we try to, for example, we can see if we retest it right now, this intersection supports again, and we start bouncing, recovering, and then definitely we will end up somewhere here. Our CME will close somewhere here too, and then we will be able on the weekend try to recover here, and closer to Sunday and Monday we are going to get back at it and we'll start ideally the scenario here is to start this second daily somewhere here and retest it and go for the retest higher, and maybe then we will get back under. So basically I think we are set in the coming week, we are set to recover up to 21,000, 21,500, at least there. I'm not taking to the long term, because I'm not talking about the long term what is going to happen here, because I think it is early to say, and I'm not making any long-term or mid-term predictions at the moment, because we are at a very important and very decisive levels. Because losing this one, for example, if you remember my videos from 2 months ago, you will see here, what can you see here? Definitely, I told you that I see here potentially an inverse head and shoulders on this weekly chart. Definitely we have, sorry that it is that dirty here. So basically left the shoulders head and the second head. It is either like this and we go to the upside, or we are going to, so it looks like it is possible here to do something like that, and then we are going to be bullish. Also, the confirmation here, let's look at our CME chart. Definitely we filled our gap here, and definitely we can retest this chart, and this formation a little bit differs from the general or ordinary other exchanges charts, and definitely we have here a perfect possibility to reverse and draw something like that, and draw the right shoulder here. Potentially, we are not saying it is going to happen 100% at the moment. We are just following and monitoring at the moment, because but we can buy a spot at the moment. It would be worth it, because the bounce is at least local bounce is going to be going to happen in the coming week, and definitely we are not gonna lose if we buy right now, and it is going to be the right positioning, safe positioning. After the significant bounce up to from 5 to 10%, we can simply place our stop loss at entry and look what is going to happen next. And the second one, look why I'm so hyped and why I'm so sure in the reaction from this level of support. You remember our risky chart from 2019, and what we have here, we came right exactly for the retest, right exactly how I told you that we are going to come. This global trend line that we are running and respecting for many years already. As you can see, it originates from 2018, 2019 accumulation bottom, and let me remove this indicators, and as we can see, we respected it. It is the trend line that starts from the moment we started to take off from the bear market in 2018 and 2019, and then we respected it here upon the bottom here in 2019 as support. Then we started to pump, and then only then we lost it, and when we lost it, we dumped heavily and capitulated, and after that then we started to recover and then reclaimed it as support, held for many months here as support, and then we pumped again and retested it and definitely took off from it. It was a very significant trend line, and as you can see here again, we held it for many months as support, then we lost it, and that was the sign for me that it is a bad sign unless we reclaim it. And as you can see, we drew here something like double bottom on the weekly time frame, a little small double bottom, like the balls right here, look like the balls, and then we started to recover it, reclaimed it, and then we became bullish. And I told you in January, if we retest it and successfully hold it, then we are going to draw apparently, as you can see again, the inverse head and shoulders, and we are becoming bullish up to 34, 36, maybe up to 40,000. We don't know it yet. I'm not selling it is going to happen 100%, but if we lose it and close under it on the weekly, that is going to be a bad situation. If we do not reclaim it very fast, on the daily time frame, on the daily candle, then definitely if we close under it, then it is a bad situation and we are going lower, going at least to the I guess the current bottom here, or maybe we are going to the prices that we expected before and didn't get because everybody expected them. So basically pay attention to this, and this chart is very useful for me and worked out precisely for many months here. And also this is the optimistic scenario here, and what I'm expecting in the long run. I'm not going to cover these kind of scenarios because there are some disturbing things. Also, what supports also this, that this week we are going to hold this trend line and this intersection of the 2017 all-time high support. It is the S&P. As you can see, we broke to the upside. We broke this counter trend line, but still we have this range resistance, significant strong resistance, and we got back for the retest of it. And today is Friday, and it is going to open, and I suggest you to follow how this weekly is going to close, because if we start to bounce a little bit here, and then the next week we are going to start with some move and another retest of it. We will slide upon it, and then after that we can bounce from it. But if we dive under it and close the weekly under it, it is a bad situation, and we are potentially as long as we under it, we are set for the 600. So definitely at least, or maybe even lower, to the global trend line that I was talking about, that we probably would be able to mark at some point. Maybe not, I'm not sure, but this is the global trend line, and it would be totally logical, because these trend lines, they work like the magnet. Sooner or later we touch them and retest them, and we have a lot of confirmations of these retests. So basically follow S&P. It is going to be insightful here, but I think this week we are done with the huge dumps. It is my opinion, only subjective opinion. It is going to change if we lose any significant support, as I mentioned it. So basically follow this S&P. And also I've got the negative scenario. Today we saw this Huobi token dumping unexpectedly, dumping to its even lower of its all-time low. So but I know people who were buying in the $4-6 range here, and I wasn't that enthusiastic, because on the high time frames from the weekly to monthly, I was looking at Huobi chart, and I was not bullish, and it looked heavy and not good for me, this chart. And as soon as I found out that Justin Sun is buying Huobi, I made a decision that I'm not even looking at this asset to buy it or long it or whatever, because I know this guy is just like a trash. When he buys something, anything that he buys goes to hell. So basically I wasn't buying, but I know some significant people that were buying and expecting something from it, and if you know me long enough, I tell you that to follow this kind of big spilling candles and with these uncovered red wicks, because well, I told you that mostly 100% of my observations and the time that I'm trading and researching the markets, we always cover this untraded wicks. So basically, if we have this wick not only on one exchange and sometimes even on a single exchange, we almost sooner or later we cover them. It means that Huobi token is going to consecutively, and slowly will start bleeding and will come to this lower zone of support here. These are my expectations already, and this is a disturbing sign because all of these kind of big red week high time frame candles, they always get recovered. And based on what we see here, it has the meaning for the whole market in general. So basically, if we look at it, we expect the whole market dump even lower. So we don't know it yet, but all these kind of candles with these kind of long weeks played out for me and got executed precisely, except I guess for Ren. Let's look at this. I thought this was a joke when we were when we drew this kind of on Binance time frame chart. We drew this spilling candle. I knew that the dump is going to happen and we are going to dump heavily, and this is where I told everybody to short Ren or not even buying it. And as you can see, it dumped heavily and even lower, but I wasn't expecting that it is going to get back in the lower than its all-time low here on the Binance time frame. Of course, it is not all-time low in its history, but definitely for the huge exchanges, it is all-time low. And it says it is going to come to 1.5 cents. It sounded crazy here, but look what is happening right now. After the Alameda and FTX capitulation, definitely this, and they controlled it at that time, and it started to dump heavily. And as you can see, it looked like we are having some kind of a capitulation here, and we tried to break this counter trend line. And I told you before, when it wasn't affected yet by the FTX collapse, I was telling you that was expecting this kind of price action, and I was saying that it is a good accumulation range here. And we had to break it once we break this counter trend line. But as you can see, we tried with the fake out on a high time frame on the weekly, and look how we are closing. This weekly is not bullish, so of course the weekly is not over yet. We will look at the daily, but still it is closing under it, and it is not very good here. And as you can see, if we close with this kind of aggressive candle, definitely we will have another one, and probably will get to 3, 2, 1, maybe 2 cents, who knows. But that's this candle, like it or not, although how fantastically it looked in the beginning, we almost covered it. And the same situation we can see now on Huobi. And I think you have to be cautious. Just this is the only thing that currently disturbs me and tells me that there's possibility that the market can go even shittier. So be very vigilant and very prepared for this. Okay, let's look at some altcoins. And Mina, if you remember, if you follow me on Twitter, I told you that I sold at $1.12 here. I saw this range, I saw this resistance, and this candle told me that we are going to reverse here, and we did. And definitely I decided to drop upon this bounce here. And I rebought here upon 90 cents when we reclaimed and retested this trend line, first blue trend line, and we started to recover but failed to break the $1 mark. And I told you in my Twitter posts that it is an important resistance, and if we can't secure it, then definitely we will continue to go lower. Then we broke this line, and it was the sign that we are set to go for the green line. And as you can see, we reached this green trend line the midterm mean trend line very fast. And after that, then we lost it too, and we marked, and I also mentioned this in my Twitter account, in my tweets, that I am expecting the price of Mina to be back in the 65-60 cents zone in the coming weeks, and we actually did that precisely. And now I think I am expecting some kind of consolidation here, and we will start to recover here, and probably are going to retest it. So basically, and it is not going to be very fast or easy, but definitely this will allow you either to have a good entry, or maybe simply make a few good trades starting from 10% movements. Very nice in my opinion. So basically, but I think if the things go shitty with the market, the Mina can go even up to 55 cents, 55, 57. But for now, I'm not looking at that. I'm expecting some local bonds, and then we will look at the higher assets, at the basic assets like Bitcoin, and we will find out what is going to happen there. The way, if we see some strength there, then Mina is going to hold this area, this orange area. If not, I eventually think it is going a little bit lower, but the important part here is we drew this higher high, and now we need to draw the higher low. And looking at all this trading area, this setup, we can see the ultimate low is here. So basically we can macro reverse either here or even up to here, and that would be macro higher low. So definitely it would be worth trying and buying here. Definitely if the price comes to 57, 55 cents, would be worth buying and holding for a long term. I think it is going to be a great and big accumulation range here, but eventually it is going to pay off. So this is what I'm looking at, and of course I'm looking how this weekly is going to close. If it holds this counter trend line as support, and if it closes not aggressively, then of course there's possibility to reverse in this zone. And definitely for the long term, it is already the zone, the area, trading area, where we can start accumulating gradually, of course. So you can try to do that if you're interested in Mina. We were talking about LTC, and I told you, remember what we talked about in the previous video, this global trend line. What is important here? This global trend line and 70 cents, 75, 70 cents. Apparently we are going to 70. So basically 70, 69, I don't know how much. This trend line, this global trend line, if we mark this line, it is going to be our support, and I think the reaction is going to happen. Even though it doesn't matter whether it is going to be globally our bottom here, local higher low, we don't know it yet, but we will get locally, we will get this reaction from 70 cents. We probably are going to feel this reaction, and we will retest at least 80, 82 dollars. Maybe then we'll retest this trend line, and if we feel the support, then it is going to be bullish, and we are going higher, and then we are going back even higher. But if we lose it, changing the color, it is all the same here. But if we lose it and close under it, then definitely we are going lower, and that is not good. We are either going to $48 at least, and the ultimate level, of course, this is this cover of this. It is if it is going to happen if something goes wrong on the macro level with the market, with Bitcoin, if it loses its supports and goes at least to the current bottom or lower, then definitely Litecoin can go even that lower. But at this moment, I'm not looking at that scenario. I'm looking at this one primarily. I think this trend line probably will be able to hold, if no other black swans or other fundamental bad news or something like that. So definitely pay attention to this, and you might want to try to bid, at least definitely I would recommend to bid on spot. If you are interested in that, definitely I would try this, because within this week I think we have to hold this line and bounce a little bit at least. Not a financial advice, of course, but look at it if it's interesting to you. Injective, I was talking about, we are retesting again this important level, and I told you before, when I sold at 380 and not very good selling point, I could have sold at least at 420, but definitely missed that opportunity, thinking about whether I should hold it or not. But definitely 380 was a good sell from my purchase of from $2.10. Definitely we are back and we are retesting this global trend line, which helped us to understand that we are taking off and are bullish before, and now we are retesting it. And I told you before that we kind of lost it, but on the weekly we have these bands, and we can see that 255 is still our support here. On the weekly it is still above it. If we lose it and close on the daily, for example, under it, then definitely we can go even lower. If this today we are going to reclaim it, hold it on the daily, then we can go for the retest of $3 here, $3 and higher. So basically, at least we can, but it is a very tough one to play. I'm not kind of in this one at this moment. It is not looking good. I'm going to better monitor it, and if I see some clear confirmation, then definitely I would enter Injective 2, but at this point I am not looking at it. What else we can discuss here? Lido was trading as we expected, dumped as we expected, as long as we lost this yellow box, and I told you, and retested this Kijun resistance and got reversed right there. Classic performance, very predictable after this weekly aggressive candle. I told you that we need to recover it up to $2 or 190, 180, and we are going for it. At least there we executed and predicted perfectly. FTM, I told you too, on the monthly time frame, it retested our resistance here, trendline resistance, and went lower, right up to 30 cents at least. I told you we are going to expect these prices, and we are coming there. Let's look at our total market cap and what is going on here. It doesn't look good at this moment. Look at it. One global trend line, we got rejected from it, and the ultimate was here. I told you that the ultimate would be here if we would reach it, but we didn't. The first trend line, we felt the resistance here and got rejected then. So basically I'm expecting the price to come here eventually and start bouncing from that, and then eventually we will retest again this, I guess, potentially again this zone on the monthly time frame. Would that be logical? Yes, it would be. And what is going to happen next, we are not making that prediction at this moment. We need to play level to level and simply find best and safe positions for our spot buys and for our longs and for our leverage positions. And what is happening with BIT? I told you, if you remember my previous videos, I told you that we are going to recover this week and we are going for it. It is going to fall until 40 cents, 42, 40 cents, until at least. So be prepared. I wouldn't recommend it buying it. It is going according to the plan. And what else, fellas? I don't know what to discuss here. Also, let's look at this SNX. Precisely as I told you, it is going to reverse here. Precisely upon it, the trend line lost here. There's possibility it is going to happen like this. And we are going to reject and go lower right to 160 as I predicted, and I told you that this is a good spot buy opportunity for the long-term investment on SNX. I told you that before, and I wasn't expecting it to happen already, because the market and especially SNX was very strong here. As you can see, was resistant to any price actions and volatility, but as you can see, it finally got it as soon as it lost this trend line, this midterm trend line, and I'm expecting it. Look at the monthly. It is horrible, but the month only started. We are ignoring it at this moment. Let's look at the weekly, and it looks aggressive at this moment. If until the weekly closing we are going to bounce a little bit and draw some kind of week below, then there is possibility that we are going to have some soft landing here. But I think 160 is possible here, and I would bet on it at these levels, because the targets, it would be worth it. It is a great ecosystem, great network, and in collaboration with Optimism, they do great things, great products, great ecosystem they are building. So basically $14, $16, $18 in the coming years are possible for synthetics. Take a look at it and pay attention to it. Let's look at the Lido, and I told you that. Remember what I told you in the previous video? If we if we fail to reclaim the Kijun support, then we are going lower, and we did, and definitely we are going up to $2 somewhere there, $2.205 somewhere there. We are going to there, and then it will depend what is going to happen from there. If we reclaim this Kijun, then there is possibility to break again this counter trend line, recover it, and then take off. If not, then we will continue to go to 140, 136, 137. So play it level to level and you will have the success, guys. I guess that's it. Let's mention Tron, how precisely it got rejected. This is what I mentioned, and we were looking at Tron as one of the bearish charts that was telling that the market is going to be bearish again. So definitely Tron is one of those charts that are telling the disturbing things and make us be cautious. At this point it marks its support, and I think it will recover a little bit in the coming days if we hold this line, and I think it will hold it, but nothing in the long term. Follow TRX. It is very insightful in the last days, in the last months, and during this bear market. So basically, if these videos are in any way useful to you and insightful, then don't hesitate and smash the like button, so I would know whether you like the content and whether I need to do more of it. Good luck, guys.